worry.
Oh.
All right. So this is Jackie, in the Key of Change, and I'm here with She from the Shears, and we're here at Lancaster's Launch Music Festival. Hi, everybody. I don't know where to get started with you guys. Describe your sound for new listeners.
It's definitely, I don't like saying indie, but it is kind of like an indie sound. Yeah, we kind of mix it with heavier aspects and also delve into the lighter aspects of music, which is kind of nice. So you get a taste of everything whenever you're listening to an EP. You know, not just the same song over and over. So we've been compared to or in the likes of Circus Survive or what else?
Maybe Receiving Ends of Sirens.
Yeah, Receiving Ends of Sirens. I always say Emery, but that's kind of for all the listeners. I grew up, I think my first show at the Chameleon, which we were playing at, it was Emery, so I'm pretty excited.
So usually when you think of indie, you think of like, or maybe I do because acoustic guitar and a little bit, but I think that's just sort of more on the harder.
Indie with balls.
Yeah, I think we've been described that way, yeah.
How do you mesh those sounds together?
The meshing of sounds, it happens somewhat naturally with us, being that we all come from the background of heavier music. I mean, within the last few years, having played in some rather heavy metal bands, as well as being well versed in things like such as classical or people like, for instance, Andy is far more well versed in the likes of indie and things like that. It's very natural to kind of mix them together because the combative and artistic natures kind of go hand in hand. So it might seem like it's forced to some people when you put it on paper when we're just saying it now. It's actually fairly natural to us.
I mean, it's sometimes I feel like it's kind of forced for us to do that because one of us might come up with something that's softer or more digestible, and then I'll start drumming to it, and it's just naturally louder, and then it kind of shapes into something else. Because, like Zach said, we all kind of grew up playing heavier music, but we also grew up being classically trained and doing jazz band in school and things like that. So it just when we get together, we're not thinking that we have to make it softer, we have to make it different. I just like to say it just kind of naturally happens. And if we're feeling in the mood of being heavier and kind of going a little balls to the wall, that's what we'll do. And if we're trying to, if we're having a certain emotion where, we're being softer or like more sad, then we'll get more quiet. So it just kind of happens.
Wherever the mood takes you. So what can fans expect from your live performances?
Our live performances are pretty visceral and energized. So, because we all came from hardcore bands and touring bands that have those hardcore tendencies, we perform in that manner. But at the same time, the music that we write together isn't really done in that same behavior. So, it's kind of makes for an interesting live show because when the music's intended to be beautiful, we try to present it that way, and when it's intended to hit hard and be more emotive, it's going to come out that way because it's just all the natural sort of thing for us.
I always tell people who are seeing this for the first time, expect lots of vocal harmonies and lots of power lunges. I'm very guilty of a lot of bad stage moves, but that's me, and I don't like that.
Yeah, definitely. One of the things that I always say is bring earplugs, regardless of what you're doing, because there are going to be quiet times, and using dynamics, I think in music is important because it kind of captures people's attention when it's quieter. But you will need earplugs for the part that comes next. So it's the best way, I guess, we can describe it.
Power lunges are good for the lower body.
Oh yeah,
Look at my pants.
Don't look at his pants.
Don't look at my pants. Actually.
Can I cross my legs?
Censor that out.
There we go.
For the younger viewers.
It always starts with the pants.
Oh Lord, and it's downhill from there. Awesome. Now, yes, you got me off track. That was awesome. What is your opinion of crowdsourcing sites like Kickstarter, Indiegogo?
Who else want to take a whack? I mean, I think, you know, it kind of goes both ways because with the way the music industry is shifting, it is shifting away from record labels. And it's shifting away from people wanting to have to pay thousands of dollars back and be in debt. And also, you know, where the music originates from, the people where it originates from, they get a cut of the money last. So it's kind of nice that, you know, Indiegogos and things and Kickstarters, it's nice that the bands kind of have control and can see all that money and use it the way they see fit and hopefully make the best judgment call for the listener. You know, sometimes it's nice to have more of a corporate or someone in charge calling the shots or making sure they spend your money right. But it's nice in that aspect, but at the same time, you know, some bands or people might take it a little bit too far with asking for money to do things. And, it's not always tracked and traced to where it should be. So sometimes bands, where people can take advantage of the situation and people giving money. But overall, with the shift in the music industry, it's pretty. I think it's innovative and in some cases really appropriate. In other cases, kind of just taking advantage of people. In my opinion, if you guys want to speak.
If I could expound on what Brent said, I'm a proponent of crowdsourcing sites, but I feel that there has to be some attempt to change something. Maybe bands start those because they want to fund a record that they feel can change the landscape of that genre of music or the music industry. There are others that it has to be for some type of cause, and it has to benefit somebody, and it has to show that the money that's being made through there is going to be used responsibly, because there's too many charity and organizations out there that maybe only 8% of what they bring in goes towards actually helping veterans or hospitals, and that's unacceptable. So when they use this because it's such an easy thing to build yourself and start raising money for, it either has to be for something that you honestly believe is going to change what you set out to do, or it's going to benefit everybody, profoundly. Anything less than that is not acceptable.
I think that's a very good point that just as in higher amounts of money in our government and all sorts of things, if the money isn't kept to itself.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
How do you guys use social media to spread the word about the band?
Very poorly. Very poorly do we utilize it.
You're not the first band to say that. Do you find yourselves having to make time, or it's 6 o'clock? I've got to.
I mean, I don't do much of the social media stuff. I have the password, but I don't really do much. I think it's mainly like Brent and Andy who are posting stuff, which we're in the process of writing a new EP. So it's kind of cool to be able to show people that we're actually in the process of it, that we're writing music, practicing it. But we could definitely do
There's always room for improvement.
we could definitely do a better job at filling people in and just try I don't know about you guys. I don't know how to gain other people's attention with just social media. We've been traveling between pretty much our area, and we've been going to different states to play to try and get more people's attention that way, because there isn't how MySpace was. It was a lot easier to just add people for music specifically. It's harder to do that kind of thing than it felt a couple of years ago.
We, as every band needs to, we definitely do it. But I think we have a good mix, and as we were saying before, we grew up and were part of the music era that didn't have to use it. you know, and kids nowadays sometimes that come out to shows or bands that are just being created today, that's all they know, and that's the only way they know how to do it, so they're probably going to be great at that. We kind of grew up in the era of posters and word of mouth, you know, around the schools or, you know, whatever it may be. So we're kind of used to that model, and now that has completely crashed and burned, and now everything's online and everyone has so little time and uses their iPhones for everything, and as opposed to going to shows and being more active, they kind of want it fed to them, I say, than them doing the work. So it definitely makes us step up a little bit. It's nice because Andy, you know, if we need a poster created for something, he'll create it, and we definitely split up the work between all of us. You know, I don't think one person can do all 6 of the social media outlets on our phone, or else, you know, because we all do have day job and stuff, so we'd be sitting there just trying to like log in and out of everything and post it here and post it there. So we have had it is nice to have someone in the band that can you know, help out with graphics and things like that, or just, you know, putting the font on there so we can just load it right away. That is nice, and having that continuity. So we definitely use it, and we plan on doing more, especially for our next upcoming EP. Like Bobby mentioned, a ton of YouTube stuff, since that's the way the entire industry is going. Everyone wants to see what you're doing all the time. So yeah, we definitely utilize it, that's for sure.
If we were more popular as individuals, if we were well-liked,
Yeah.
it would definitely translate a lot more. But we were all losers. So.
If we could be as clever about that as we feel we can be about writing sometimes, I think stuff would be a little bit more viral and get out there. But you try and put in like Vine videos together or something like, oh man, we could be doing so much more constructive stuff right now than a Vine video, a 6-second video that's taking 6 hours.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Yeah, but it's a necessary.
You work it in when you can, you know. It's and that it would be nice to have some of them, but you know, we have to do it ourselves.
Just don't ever cross over to the other side where you're oversharing.
Oh yeah.
No.
That's always what I worry. Like when you try to convince people to be more social media active, because it's certainly not socially active.
It gets views, but it's by like stalkers and things, and it's not
or crazy,
not your fan
crazy
base.
13-year-old kids,
Yeah.
or 50-year-old. Not the way to go.
Not our
Both of
demographic,
those
strangely.
follow me.
Yeah, see, that's
Interesting.
no.
But speaking of being socially active, you guys have previously done your part with your last EP to be more socially conscious. Can you tell us a little more about that?
Yes.
With our last EP, it was around Earth Day, around this time last year, that we were doing that release, and we wanted, because we're all very environmentally conscious and we're so, just social issues are prevalent in our daily lives all the time. And as far as putting a CD together, we really try and push the digital environment for our music, but sometimes at shows there's people that they want that instant gratification of owning something tangible that you create. So we set out to work with Sire Press out of Philadelphia, like a local press company that's also very environmentally conscious, and worked with recycled materials and packaged our CD ourselves, and did everything from just a soy pasting process of printing it, putting it together, signing everything individually. So it was kind of a great project to kind of get us to bring us together and kind of show that we all had a hand in it tangibly, as well as putting it on into music. So that was something we look forward to trying again on a larger scale, and hopefully that can catch on, because the day of digipacks and jewel cases is so lame. It just is, and it's so wasteful, and it's garbage, and it is going to be in the earth for 1,000 years before anything happens to it. So we don't want to be a participant in that. So.
Yeah, I think it's a really important point you
like
what's the first thing you do?